Hello everyone, welcome to another video talking geeky stuff with me, Tenshi. And today's topic is about, can video games be the next big thing in Hollywood? Why can't Hollywood get video games right? Can it be the next big thing? I mean, the closest you can compare that to is probably Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, and the way they kind of handle things for the last 20 plus years. Even though MCU been around for what, 12 years now, but Kevin Feige has been the producer for maybe 20 years, 10 years before that. He was producer on X-Men, producer on Blade and other comic movies at that time. And he took a lot of learnings, trials, and success. And when he learned, he created MCU. There's a lot of trials and tribulations and learnings and what become the biggest franchise at the moment. I mean, the Marvel franchise taking over Star Wars. Okay, it's questionable by this Phase 4, to be honest. I didn't like the last 3 movies that much, and that's another topic for another story, another video. But I think there's a lot to learn from what MCU did. DC, they tried it, and I'm happy they found success. They had a tough time because they were really playing catch up to the MCU, especially trying to, with Justice League, for example. Even though I did like the 4-hour version a lot better, but I'm happy that they found a lot of success. I remember every studio out there are trying to find their universe. Universal tried it with their horror. They tried to do like a horror universe. Of course, The Mummy starring Tom Cruise flopped, and that kind of stopped it. I hope they kind of rebound that. If they do it correctly, I would love to see a horror universe. Legendary Studios being pretty successful with their Godzilla King Kong franchise, and hopefully to add Pacific Rim to their universe. That'd be pretty cool. So it can be done, and I feel that video games is only a few steps away. They add a bit of change their trajectory a little bit, change their thinking, their thought process a little bit, and they could achieve the success of what MCU are doing. What are the ingredients to make a good movie out of a video game? Like I mentioned earlier on, they can probably follow the footsteps and tweak it here, change it bits and pieces here of the MCU, their journey and how they become so successful, becoming the biggest franchises in history at the moment, overtaking Star Wars, right? Let's talk about the ingredients. What I personally feel the ingredient for a good, successful franchise, especially a franchise. If you think about it, gaming, all the entertainment business, movies, TVs, music, it is the biggest industry out there. It makes more money year on year than all of those combined. There's so much money involved in video games now. The production rivals Hollywood production. The manpower behind a project of making, say, a big Call of Duty game is more or less the same amount of people that makes a big Hollywood movie. So at the same time, it's like, so there's loads of money to be made in it, but it's just something missing. Me personally, here's some of the ingredients that's missing. Is, I think, respect. For some bizarre reason, Hollywood producers, studios, they don't seem to respect gaming so much. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's a hierarchy thing where, there's this hierarchy thing where Hollywood thinks they are the premium brand, and they look down on comics, they look down on, geeky stuff. I mean, hence why Marvel Comics took some time to get in. Now everybody all of a sudden become a fan of comics now, Yeah, well, and I think the video game industry has overcome that somehow. All I need is just 1 or 2 big breakthroughs and say, oh, okay. So the respect, I think producers, studios have to respect gaming, With Kevin Feige, he's a comic fan, and he has a lot of power, and he shows so much respect for the source material. And I think respect for gaming is a must. And courage. I mean, this day and age where the Me Too, everybody's kind of a bit woke. I don't really want to use that term much, but like gender swapping, race swapping, identity politics. They want to talk about something about society and so on. And don't get me wrong, there is a place and a time and a movie and a franchise for that. And I think you should definitely talk about society if the story permits it. If it's part of the story and it's being told well, yeah, definitely. But changing the story, changing identity, changing the cast, the genders, just for the sake of it, just to tick the boxes, I don't think it's right. I really don't. Because the people who created something created, the characters in this way because the story that they told go that way. For example, right? You imagine if you change, just by changing a person's race, that alters the whole storyline. I'm Asian Chinese. Can you imagine my story? If I wrote a story about myself, I made myself a superhero character, and I had a lot of upbringing that made me, a superhero because of my Chinese background. If you change me to say to, I don't know, someone from Middle East or someone from Europe, my Asian background literally disappears because it doesn't make any sense. Just that's how the story evolves around the person's race. Or if I wrote a story about myself again as a male and upbringing from a male perspective, and suddenly you change the character to a female, all the upbringing will have to be changed. So you kind of loses the plot, you lose the story, and at the same time, you lose the essence of the story in the first place. So that's why I'm a sucker for keeping the same things as the creator intended to. So I think that courage is not about changing. Sometimes courage is about sticking to something and make the best out of it. Changing just for changing to cater is not courage. The most courageous people there is to stick to your own guns, to stick to what you believe in. That's more courageous. Anyway, thirdly, let's talk about justice. It kind of goes hand in hand with a bit of respect, because if I have a creator or something and it's the big hit, say I created a comic book, it sold millions of copies, and I don't know, 20th Century Fox, Disney decides to buy it off me, and then suddenly change everything. Why would you want to change it? You kind of got justice for the creator. I mean, my product sold hundreds of millions of copies for a reason, because it's good. So why would you want to change the story to cater for something? And I think that's important. Stick to the source material that gives justice to the creator. Fourth, service. At the end of the day, no matter what anybody says and how much they disrespect, goes back to respect again, the fans are the paying customers. Fans are technically your bosses. They're your boss. Think about it. If it weren't for the fans, the franchise would never make this much money. I mean, take Star Wars, for example. From the original Star Wars to the prequels, prequels, there's a big gap. And after the prequels, there's another big gap into the sequels, right? Who kept the franchise alive when it was at rock bottom? It was the fans. It was the fans of consistently buying the re-release of DVD, Blu-rays, VHS, the toys, the franchise, the video games. It was fans that kept on keeping this alive. And then what they do? Disney buys it and totally disrespects the fans and say, give the middle finger to the fan. And how was that service? And what happened? The fans fought back and stopped buying things. And suddenly, from being one of probably was the biggest franchise, film franchise, now was what, second? I don't know, even third, overtaken by MCU. So the fans are your bosses, and you go to the store, you're a paying customer, you expect good service from the shop, right? It's the same thing. You should expect good service for what you're paying for. It's logical sense. I think that's important. Show the fans some respect, give them some fan service. And of course, last but not least, is trust. It goes back to the creator. You buy a product, the IP. You have to trust the creator of the IP, why they wrote it, they drew it, they designed it this way. You know, the reason why you buy the IP is because it was a big hit. Like I said earlier, if I create a comic, it sold 100 million copies, I must be doing something right to sell so much. So you have to trust in the source material in order, for the others. I'm a bit rambling on, but I have a bit of trust. Have a bit of trust in, as a studio as well. The studio should trust in the people they employ, the director, the producer, the writer, the set designers, the editors. Trust in those people that you hired. Okay? And you throw them all into the cauldron, see what comes out. And lastly, show a bit of love. I think we all need a little bit of love in the world, both personally, professionally, in everyday things. As fans, we love the product. Show a bit of love. As a creator, show a bit of love. Most of them, add a bit of love. It doesn't hurt anyone, right? Put a bit of love in there. Let's see what the cauldron whips up. Come on. Suspense. There you go. A little joke there, of course. I took this, I borrowed this from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just added video games. And to me, these are some ingredients that I think needs to go in to making a good video game. I believe. Moving on. What is next? Could one of these be the big breakthrough? As much as I think, say for example, Sonic and Pokemon Pikachu were successful, but it still didn't get that. It made money because the target audience like it. The fans, the kids, and so on. But I don't think the general public took it too serious. I'm hoping Borderlands, the new Borderlands, if everything goes smoothly, directing, no more trouble, I hope that could, and you got a good cast as well. We've got Kate Blanchett, Academy Award winner. Having big stars like that really definitely helps get people more, get the project more noticeable, but probably taking it more serious. So I hope that could be a good one, a good sign. And then Uncharted. I like Tom Holland. He's a great actor. Spider-Man. But I personally don't think he was the right choice to play Nathan Drake myself. I would have chosen Chris Pratt, Star-Lord from the Guardian of the Galaxy. I would have chosen him. Someone a bit more mature, kind of like in the 30s, that kind of age, and someone a little bit taller. Tom Holland ain't the tallest guy out there. Anyway, I'm hoping maybe the first Uncharted is more like set 20 years before the current game. So you see like a younger Nathan Drake, and then the sequel be a different actor or someone like that. Or who knows, Tom Holland can maybe grow a couple of inches. So who knows, right? And then of course I'm also looking forward to, if they do it right, is the Last of Us TV show. To see how that goes. Looking forward to it, and I'm actually looking forward to the new Tomb Raider as well. Like I mentioned, I didn't mind the first one, starring Alicia Vikander. I thought it was pretty good. I hope they can really take it and run with it and make it a bit more serious. I would say flush out a bit more of the character and maybe produce a bit more action sequences on that. I hope that can do well as well. Anyway, thank you for listening to me rambling about video games into movies. Anyway, let me know what you think. What are the ingredients that you think that I missed? Anyway, have a lovely time. Until next time, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Goodbye.